Hey everyone, so earlier this year I got to see Black Widow. And no, this is not going to be a review. There's plenty of reviews about this. You can always watch one of those if you're interested. Or the movie is available on Disney Plus for no additional charge, so you can just watch it there. But I saw some things said about this movie. One, about when it came out. There's nothing the movie can do about that. It got greenlit when it got greenlit. And then other people had some thoughts about the ending. And I will be the first to admit that I do think that the ending wasn't the crescendo it should have been. That the ending felt like it kind of kept sputtering, that something happened and then it slowed down, something happened that slowed down, that there were some pacing issues. But the main thing that I wanted to talk about was how this worked as a wonderful ending for the character arc. And this is something that I don't think I saw anyone else talk about. True, I don't watch that many reviews, and I tend to only watch them after I watch a movie. But this story had an incredible irony for this character. So, starting in Avengers is when this character started talking about the red in their ledger. And very clearly, the red was a not so subtle metaphor for the blood on her hands, the lives she had taken. After all, she was an assassin. That's what assassins do. And so, how do you clear out the red from your ledger? Because your tools, your skills, it is to take lives. And yet, that is not what she does in this movie. This movie is not about her taking lives. This movie is about her saving lives. She's not really equipped to do that. She has to use the skills, the tools, the talents, the knowledge of taking lives to help lives, to preserve lives. So, for instance, when she's fighting the other Black Widows, she does not want to actually hurt them. They kind of pass it off as a joke, but she knows they're being mind controlled. She is there to save them. It's not just there for vengeance and to stop the villain from doing what he's doing. They are there to save people. So you have an assassin not taking lives, but an assassin saving lives. And the whole ending of this movie is that you see her fighting the Black Widows in a non lethal way until her sister Yelena is able to free them. And then Yelena herself, when she jams the motor on the aircraft, blows up. She gets blown off the ledge, and Natasha literally throws herself off the ledge to save her, to catch her sister. And then she puts the parachute on her, and then she lets go because she then sees Taskmaster coming, and then she has to save Taskmaster because this is really, at least in the iteration that they talk about in this movie, this is really the red in her ledger because this is the adult of a child who she was willing to do harm to, lethal harm to, in order to kill the person's father. So the whole ending isn't about her being an assassin. The whole ending is about her saving people. She saves the Black Widows. She saves her sister. She saves Taskmaster. And I don't think I saw anyone say that and anyone understand that. People are like, well, this isn't the Taskmaster from the comics. Well, overwhelming majority of what you see on the movie screen is only vaguely like the comics. Some of it's more close, but a lot is very different. So that's really all I wanted to say as far as the first main point is that I don't think anyone saw that. At least I didn't hear anyone say that, and I wonder if people truly understood that. I am presuming that was intentional. I'm presuming that is what the writers had in mind because it's not just one off. The entire ending of the movie is her not killing, but her saving the Black Widows, saving her sister, saving Taskmaster. So I thought that made for a good irony, and I think that if people watch the movie with that in mind, I think maybe they'll enjoy it more. Again, there's things that aren't the movie's fault. Like when it came out, it really should have come out after Civil War, but there's no control. The creators had no control over when the movie was going to come out. So I thought that was a nice ending for this character's arc. So even though the character technically in the timeline ended in Endgame, I think this is where you really saw the bookend to her character, that rather than being an assassin, she was saving people, protecting people. So I thought that made for a nice irony. And the other thing that I want to mention was that this is when the MCU started to seem to become self aware. So while in certain movies, like, in Iron Man 3, people knew Tony Stark, that he was Iron Man, he even announced that at the end of the first Iron Man. But there would seem to be a greater self-awareness where people are identifying the Avengers in story as the Avengers and the tasks they did and seeing them as like heroes. And so there's this scene where Yelena is making fun of Natasha, saying, "You do this thing where you land and you throw your hair back." She's like, "You think people are watching you? You're a poser. You're a total poser." And then on a more serious note, she's like, "Yeah, we're both killers, but you're the killer that little girls look up to as a hero." And I'm pretty certain that that wasn't meant to be just in story, in canon, that it is a commentary about how, when you think about it, some of these characters are by trade very unsavory. And indeed, kids do dress up and idolize, although I don't think for the most part it's unhealthy. I'm not as negative as the movie is. But the fact that you have little kids, dressing up like, oh, I'm Black Widow. It's like, okay, well, Black Widow's an assassin who kills people. That's kind of what makes an assassin assassin. So I think that the movie did a good job calling that out, but it didn't also do anything with it. It just left it there. And by having it be in story, in canon, it leaves it up to the viewer to realize, oh, by the way, we're talking about how little kids in real life idolize this. Now, for the most part, I don't think it's a problem because I think that adults overdo the notion of idolization, that a healthy mind, even a young healthy mind, it's little things that they like. Maybe it's the style, maybe it's that they're determined, maybe it's just that they have, a substantial part in the story. I don't think little kids really want to go out and become assassins. So I'm not as negative as the movie is, but it's still a wonderful commentary that they pointed out. That's like, yeah, you got little kids dressing up like murderers. Anyways, so that's about it. So I overall did enjoy this movie. It's on Disney Plus, no extra charge at this point. So if you haven't watched it, I do recommend it, and I don't think it deserved as much negativity as it got. It's far from perfect. Like I said, the third act it kind of sputters a bit. So even though that's where the irony sets in, I do feel that uh, from a pacing point of view, it still could have been edited better and done better. But anyways, so please enjoy the rest of your day, and please have a happy New Year.